There she is. All right, we are live in 5, 4, 3. Hey everybody, welcome here to today's video marketing for auto retail webcast panel. This is one of 6 different webcast panel programs that we conduct under the Auto Retail Marketing Webcast Series, held every Tuesday at 3 o'clock Central. We did just move them from 2 to 3 o'clock Central. I'm Ryan Girardi. Today is Tuesday, May 5th. Happy Cinco de Mayo, everybody, if you celebrate Cinco de Mayo. Thank you for joining us. Appreciate you being here. This is a live streaming webcast, so it's a Zoom webinar that is streamed live right here on YouTube, and it is recorded. Once the recording or once the live stream ends, then the video becomes unlisted. So the only way to access the recordings is if you have a link to the video. And the best way to get a link is to be subscribed to our YouTube channel. That's the best way. And then have notifications turned on. And that way, every time we schedule these, because we do one every week for automotive, you get a link to the recording. But what you can also do is head on over to autoconversion.net, look under Auto Retail Masterminds and look for video, and you'll see a page like this. And you can see all the previously recorded sessions. You can also register. And the benefit of registering is you'll get an invite to our Slack member network, and that will give you access to all of the recordings within all 6 programs of the series. And as a benefit, you'll also get access to our online video course that we put together last year with our partners at Flick Fusion. In fact, Tim James, who's up here with us today, is a part of that course. And this is a 10 video course about video or not video, and types of videos to produce, and equipment and technology and hosting and data and distribution, all that good stuff. So yeah, get yourself registered, and you'll have that kind of back end access to the program. So what I'm going to do is real quick, just say hello, panelists. How's it going?
Good. Very good.
We have
Good.
Patrick
Happy Cinco de Mayo.
Block and Adam from Nashville. Yes, happy Cinco de Mayo. So hello, Patrick and Adam. We have Tim James from St. Louis with Flick Fusion, who I just mentioned. Great to have you back here, Tim. And then we have Chad Morgan at QuickPage, tuned in from Seattle.
Hey guys, what's happening?
And I think you said you might have to duck out before we're done here. So we will, that's fine. So great to have you guys here. What I'm going to do is the focus for today is our online sales, car sales. Are they really pivotal in keeping auto dealers alive right now? And what do consumers really feel about buying cars online from dealers? And then for our second segment, we're going to look at some alternative video strategies that retailers can use to engage customers online. But to get things started, I am going to play Patrick's video resume, and then we're going to talk about Patrick's video resume. So I'm going to switch my audio and play this. It's about 1.5 minutes. And Patrick's on here on the panel with us. And we're going to talk about why he did the video resume and what's been the response so far. So let's play this.
My name is Patrick Block, and I'd like to take a minute to tell you why hiring me will benefit your organization. I received my Bachelor of Science in Marketing and Entrepreneurship in 2012 from the University of Tennessee. Go Vols. Since then, I've worked at large public organizations down to small private startups with less than 20 employees. I love working in the car business and in the software space. Whether it's been in operations or customer success, I found that my passion was impacting business. I've spent time working with marketing and social media teams, operations teams to revamp processes, sales teams to drive revenue, and with software engineers to discuss user experience. I found myself wearing lots of hats and being as engaged as possible. I continuously develop myself as well. I've been studying SQL, Tableau, and Python over the past few months to grow my data analysis skills. As you can see, I've made it a point to be a diversely skilled A player. Overall, I love impacting business and creating change for the better. I'm dedicated, passionate, and I'm ready to hustle for your company. Thanks, and I look forward to chatting with you.
All right. So Patrick, let's get you up here. First off, I'll say you're very hireable. That's the impression I got. It seemed like kind of guy I'd want on my team. But what led to the idea of doing the video resume? Did someone suggest it? Did you read about it? Did you just have this aha moment? What was the inspiration behind doing that?
Yeah, the real inspiration, besides the fact that millions and millions of Americans are being laid off and furloughed, I realized as I was applying for as many jobs as I could to make sure I could continue to make ends meet, that every time I sent my resume and an application in, it really felt, aside from if I did a cover letter, that I was not really differentiating among the hundreds of other applicants there would be. I figured I would humanize myself a lot more if I at least got in front of a camera and they knew that I wasn't just a piece of paper. I have a good friend that filmed my wedding that I know is struggling as well. So I reached out to him. I said, what do you think about doing video resumes? And so we met up and he shot it for me. And it was, from there, a lot of interaction, and it definitely made me more confident when I'm applying now.
And is it easy to share a link to the video when you apply for a job?
Yeah, typically there's a section where you can add just miscellaneous notes or comments, and that's usually where I'll just drop the link or download the file and attach it.
And have you noticed any sort of enhanced or additional response? Has it produced the effect that you'd hoped for?
Yeah, I put it out on LinkedIn just to show support for people and to let them know there's other ways that people are trying to get in front of companies. And if you're not willing to be in front of a camera and be comfortable with that, then other people are going to pass you by. So I shared it there, and it was a lot of, I think it was 3,000 views on LinkedIn, which is a lot for someone that's not really a marketing expert. And I did get a lot of private messages and a lot of positive feedback about it. A lot of people saying that it's, you look hireable. I want to connect you with someone in my network. So it's been good for sure.
And you got invited to come on a podcast too.
I did. Yeah.
Now, you said a friend of yours recorded it for you. I saw you had a lapel. The audio came out fine. Was that the only audio input?
Yep. He just put a little microphone on me, and I went to his office just north of Nashville, and he, shot the camera. He had the teleprompter so I could read off what I had written as a script. And from there, he just took the video editing himself.
And I didn't actually notice any editing, but I imagine that you had to do some double takes and there's some editing in there.
Yeah, we shot it a couple times because sometimes I would go off script or I'd pause. It took 4 or 5 times to make sure you got it right. But I'd say for 30 minutes of work, it got me more engagement than just shooting bulk applications out.
I'm going to share this on the live chat, if that's okay with you, just so people have access to it. Well, good. So Tim, you're a video aficionado. What's your initial reaction from watching that?
No, it's great. I hope Patrick doesn't find a job anytime here soon so that I can hire him here right down the road. No, it was a great job. I think he accomplished what I always consider the goal of video. Every video is you want to transfer as much information as you can possibly transfer while inspiring a desired emotion. And I think that Patrick did a good, very effective job of doing both. He gave some good quality information, the information that a would-be employer would be wanting to know about him. And he did so, in an emotional manner that really helped demonstrate his commitment to himself, his commitment to learning, while making it easy for the guy on the other side. You know, I don't know about the rest of y'all, but I don't want to read as much as possible. I would just as soon have somebody send me a video about whatever it is they want to talk to me about. Just shoot me a quick video and let me watch it, and it's going to save me time. It's going to save, the reality is going to save them time versus trying to type out everything they want to type out in an email to send to me anyway. So yeah, I loved it, and you know, I look forward to circling back and visiting with Patrick here down the road.
So I think you just said, without saying it, that you're not hiring right now at Flick Fusion. One of the few companies that aren't hiring these days.
Yeah, I know, right?
Well, like I said, Patrick, I think it makes you I come across as very hireable. You know, not I think it was effective in that. Chad, let me get your opinion. You work with dealers on making more personalized videos, because one thought I had, Patrick, is could you see yourself recording an individual video for a specific job application? You know, I make those all the time. I kill people with all my videos. Hey, here's 6 minutes of Ryan, you know, like boom. Have you, you know, I know I just asked you both different questions. So first, Patrick, have you done that or considered or felt the need to do individual one-offs?
I haven't felt the need to do individual one-offs yet. In 2017, I was at a dealer group out of Bowling Green that I was the director of sales training. And one of the things that I pushed really hard back then was making sure personalized videos were made for individual customers. That it wasn't adopted super well at that time yet, as it should be now, but I'm definitely comfortable doing it. And I've definitely thought if there's a couple of companies in Nashville that you can think of that are, you know, the places you want to work. It's a big hub for Amazon. It's a big hub for Lyft. It's a big hub for Bridgestone and Nissan. You think about making individual videos for the ones you really want to work for. So yeah, I agree with you, Ryan.
Yeah, I have found that if I'll either make videos for individuals or for small groups of people. Like today, I made a video and sent it out to to you guys as panelists, right? I'll make them in small groups of people. Well, good. So I want to segue a little bit into video and car sales and all that stuff. I'll let Chad start that off in response to Patrick's video, and maybe you can add to that, Chad, on, you know, the idea of individual personalized one-off videos.
Yeah, I think the reason that we're growing as fast as we are at QuickPage is because it allows you to have the personalized with evergreen content. The customer swipes through it. So I think that's the best of both worlds. Give some background. Like we're teaching dealerships to do a bio video. How'd you get in car sales? Why do you like car sales? 3 reasons they should buy from you. Those are all things that we call evergreen videos. And on the front of that, you put your personalized message, which only takes a minute. It's probably short, takes less time to do a video than it does to type it out and autocorrect all of your misspellings if you're like me. So it would be, you would have that video there, your background, your credentials, what you, you know, what you're looking, your you know, perfect fit for a job opportunity. And then on the front end, you would just reach out individually. You know, hey, Chad, this is Patrick. I just wanted to introduce myself, put a face to the name. Listen, I want to apply for your job. Click right on the arrow, and you're going to see a little bit of background about me and 3 reasons, you know, or whatever, X, Y, and Z. So that seems to be the sweet spot right now. I mean, I think there's a huge vacuum for personalized video because everybody's trying to make it so scripted and perfect. And sometimes I think more often than not, when it comes across a little bit raw and you're just comfortable and you're able to share your confidence and your passions and your personality, man, I just think that is a beautiful thing that people are really looking for now.
Mm-hmm. So I'm going to bring up an article in a minute, but I'll have you answer first, Chad, and then Tim, I'd like to turn to you. But from you know, we're like 2 months now going on 2 months into quarantine, lockdown, right? Dealers, for a month, half of them couldn't even technically sell cars. Are you seeing anything, Chad, on your end, from a statistical standpoint, whether it pertains to video or not, that's different or stood out? Any sort of trend or something noticeable that you could speak to?
We're not seeing really anything change as far as like the user engagement with QuickPage. It's always been really, really solid. As far as like the video, the customer watching the videos has stayed steady and always been really great. We're seeing more usage out of our tool, mainly because dealerships are making it absolutely mandatory to send video out. They're starting to catch on to how effective video is in the follow-up process, and they're making it a line item in the sales steps, which is, I think, really smart. We all know that salespeople, me included, like to take the path of least resistance, and there's a lot of resistance around being on video, especially if you've never done it before. But the world is changing very, very quickly, and all the Best Buy's video equipment is gone, and people are being forced to be on video and work from home. And so they're having to overcome their fear of doing video. I think when we pop out of this thing, it's going to get a lot more competitive, and everybody's sales game is going to have to go up a little bit more, because you're going to use your video, your sales skills. Really, 93% of communications, voice inflection and body language. It's pretty hard to convey your, or persuade somebody through email or through a voicemail. But now you can use video, and you can use all of your sales skills. So that's kind of what we're seeing, is more usage. More dealerships are making it mandatory part of the process.
Okay, so you're seeing your dealership personnel actually embrace the technology and utilize it more than they were before, which we would expect. You would expect that to happen. Now, Tim, on your side with Flick Fusion, I mean, you guys are hosting, probably millions of videos by this point, for thousands of companies and dealers and whatnot. Any indicators or trends that stand out for you as far as usage, activity, engagement, and all that?
Yeah, for us, what we've seen is that first and foremost, overall engagement from video content itself, all the way up high funnel content like new model test drive videos, mid-funnel inventory, individual VIN-driven inventory videos, the value proposition and testimonial videos from the dealerships, really not just talking about why they should buy there, but also really going into the effort that they're making right now into providing a safe experience for the consumer. Is extremely important with a lot of engagement right now as well. And then, of course, like Chad mentioned, all the way down to now, once the consumer is engaging the dealership, utilizing that video, that personalized message to communicate with the consumer, to start humanizing yourself, like Patrick was talking about, letting that shopper know that, hey, you know what, I feel your pain. I'm in this with you. Look in your eyes and really get the tone of your voice, not having to just read a bunch of words on a piece of paper. And then we're also seeing that live video engagement, video calling from those video messages that have gone out is increasing as well. And I think that fear that a lot of people have had about being on camera that Chad was referring to has been, I don't want to say overcome completely, but man, you look at how businesses themselves are having to communicate with each other, and everyone having to get on camera, do these Zoom calls, do these face-to-face live video calls, and really being force-fed the fact that you've got to overcome your video fears. And it's really made a transition to the point where, as a consumer, anyway. Maybe not you as an employee, a salesperson at the dealership yet, but the consumer is kind of digging this. They're kind of liking this whole, let's get online and do a video thing. So if you want to really embrace not just what's happening now, but the trend that's been set for the future, you have to start upping your video game like Chad was talking about and becoming better at utilizing video in the communication process with your leads and your existing customers, because it's what they want and expect now. And we all know that it's the consumer expectation that drives change, that drives new technologies and new trends in automotive, and it's here. So definitely seeing a spike in all of the video engagement from top to bottom, and definitely the lower end funnel as well, with more and more sales individuals being forced to start utilizing video in their community. And a lot of them have a little bit more time on their hands than they've had before, so they're willing to give it a shot. They're finding out that it's not that time consuming, it's not that hard to actually do. Again, like Chad had mentioned before, the consumer just wants to see you, raw, you, not some big production. And as more and more salespeople are shooting their first video, their second video, their fourth, 10th, 100th, they start getting much more comfortable. They start getting a lot better at it. And so I don't think this trend's going to stop. I don't think it's going to go away. I think it's something that's going to be a part of lead follow-up, customer communication for an automotive salesperson for the remainder of the future.
Yeah,
that's my opinion.
In a way, this is kind of like I would call it like mandatory boot camp for a lot of people. Chad, I know you have to go in a few minutes, and Adam, I want to get you in on the conversation. So let's segue you guys, and thank you, Tim, for sharing that, because you said something in there that was really key, which was that, and maybe you'll remember the way that you phrased it, but basically you said that change is driven by meeting customer expectations, I think is how you put that. I had come across this article a few days ago on Car Scoops. And as you can see, it's titled Online Sales Proving Pivotal in Keeping Auto Dealers Alive. I don't know Car Scoops too well. I started reading the article. It's pretty short and sweet. And it's got a quote in here, I think, of Alex Vetter at cars.com. It mentions Paragon Honda, which is, Brian Benstock is pretty outspoken. So I think part of it is they wanted to loop in some known names. But here's what I found interesting. Adam, I hope you had a chance to look at some of these comments, because I'd love to hear your thoughts on them. But let me just read a couple to get the sentiment of what consumers are saying. It's no surprise, considering how much more convenient doing paperwork and negotiating from comfort of my dealerships are offering at-home test drives. Okay. It says an existing person. That's good and all for common folks, but I have to touch, see, and drive the car that I'm thinking about buying. It's easy to hide details, like if a car was in an accident or a panel was repainted through pictures and videos. But hey, if it's working for other people and helping dealerships sell cars, then by all means. This person says, based on what I've been seeing, it's not doing a blessed thing. Most sane folks wouldn't buy a vehicle, not even clothing in my case, without doing a lot of the deal in person. I took my Fusion in for state inspection yesterday. Nearly fell over when I saw the new car lot. I've never seen it even half full, and now it's overflowing. Always dumbfounded when I see the Carvana ads on TV. Another person says, I bought an out-of-state used vehicle via the internet, and I'll never do any of those things again. Adam, love to get your initial response on some of those comments.
Yeah, I mean, selling cars online is, I think everybody's brought it to the forefront, especially with conversations about digital retailing, et cetera. But I mean, you think about companies like Texas Direct that have been around for years and years selling cars on eBay. all across the country and all across the world. I don't really think it's that new of a thing. Obviously Carvana is new, and they've got a catchy marketing campaign that a lot of traditional dealers like to poke fun of or compare themselves against. But yeah, I mean, everybody's different. Most of the dealers that I work with, when this whole thing started, we started offering at-home test drives and things like that, and digital retailing tools. And for the most part, people haven't really, at least the dealers that I've worked with and the dealers that I know across the US and Canada, most of them aren't selling many cars online. They're communicating with their customer. Most of them are using video, and that's something that I've been preaching for 8 or 10 years, since I was working at the Kia stores here in Nashville back in the day. So I mean, the comments are all over the place because everybody's different, right? Whereas I feel comfortable making a couple $100 purchase on Amazon every day or whatnot. Some people aren't going to feel comfortable buying anything online. So I mean, you got to going back to what Tim and Patrick said, you've got to your customers' expectations are what you've got to meet. So whatever form of communication they expect, the level of service is got to increase. And I think bottom line with what's going on, people are offering at-home test drives, things like that. Basically what has happened is everybody has been forced to really increase their customer service and go above and beyond what they used to. I mean, dealers for the most part, I think, have been kind of lazy with their communication with the customer. And now that everybody's stuck at home, the only way to really differentiate yourself or try to get a deal when you're working against other dealers is to make it easier for the customer. And if they need to communicate over video, do that. So the comments are kind of fun, and I've been reading a lot of articles on that. And a lot of these digital retailing tools are they're not all that great. They're super clunky. Brian Pash put an article about Shop Click Drive being the absolute worst digital retailing tool out there. And it's true. I mean, if you ever try to do that, try to complete that process. It's clunky as hell. Not to say that all of them are, but a lot of dealers will just throw the button or the widget on their website and expect that everybody's going to magically buy their car online. And it's not that way. You've got to promote it. You've got to embrace it. And it's really a culture change. And a lot, fortunately for me, the dealers I work with, they're doing it. It's basically just, let's make a faster, easier, better car buying experience. And that's what you see with CarMax and Carvana, because that's what really people want. They want a better experience because they've had bad experiences in the past, or they go spend 4 hours on a Saturday and just have a terrible experience. And that's, what this COVID thing has done is forcing all businesses, not just car dealers, to, improve their processes and improve their customer experience.
I wonder, and Tim and Patrick, I mean, I'd love to hear your thoughts. I wonder, so that article was titled Online Sales Pivotal, right? When fact of the matter is, you can't, even on eBay, you can't actually press a button, put it in a shopping cart and transact. You can't actually do that. Most franchise and state laws require, what do you call it? The wet signature, right? Or at the very least, some sort of electronic document signing, right? So is it online sales or is it really just shopping? And why do we need online in there? You know what I mean? It's what, remember when we launched, when the internet became a thing, dealers started having an internet department. Well, why'd you need an internet department? Because I had to respond to internet shoppers, as if there's different types of shoppers, So anyway, that we see the sentiment from people, but Tim, tell me, I mean, what's your thoughts, when you see the article and you see some of those comments?
The customer's in charge, and the industry as a whole has worked real hard for many years to try to maintain control of the customer. And ultimately, in the long run, the customer and what the customer wants will always win. Now, it's taken some time in the automotive industry because most dealerships nationwide continue to follow the same processes and be very resistant to a lot of the changes. Even that website and that internet department that you're talking about was added resistantly. It was not something that 10 years ago the dealerships wanted to do and embrace. But then you would see a dealership here or a dealership there take a different approach and say, you know what? This is the future. We're not going to fight it. We're going to embrace it. And by embracing it, their sales would skyrocket. Then would come chat. Oh, we don't want shoppers to be able to chat with us. They want to talk. They got to call us. And it was met with such resistance. And it would come and go and come and go off the website, on the website, until it finally got to the point where today, every website, every dealership has to have that chat option because the consumer wants it. Doesn't mean that some of them aren't still going to call. Some of them are. Doesn't mean some of them aren't still going to just show up, because they will. The consumer is in control. And now these, with the things like the Carvanas and Texas Direct and dealerships like that, all they are dealerships that said what other dealerships have sporadically, here and there, do from time to time. And that's say, you know what? We're not going to fight it. We're going to embrace it. And by embracing it and providing the shopping method and the communication, the merchandising of their inventory, the different levels of communication, and the shopping experience that the consumer is much more comfortable with, their business is skyrocketing. And Carvanas and the Texas Directs they're not the only ones. You have many individual franchise dealerships around the country, small dealership groups around the country that have also taken that approach, and even individual salesmen at dealerships who, when their dealership as a whole isn't investing into the future and embracing the way the consumer wants to do business, themselves as a salesperson, your Ali Ritas and several other names across the country who have taken it upon themselves to say, you know what, I'm going to provide a better experience for my customer, for my shopper, and who really use tools like QuickPage and VidMail from FlickFusion and different video communication tools like that to start doing that more personalized humanization of themselves and the dealership, making the overall experience for the consumer better. Their sales go up as an individual. They go to 10 cars, 20 cars, 40 cars, 70 cars, 80 cars. In Ollie's case, 100 plus cars a month. And it's nothing new. I mean, this isn't just the automotive industry, as Adam said. This is any business. The corona's kind of thrown people into a crash course of a lot of consumers want to do business differently. We have the tools. We have the ability. Why not do it? And for a lot of businesses, it was, I've got to do it to stay alive for 30, 60, 90 days. And, shame on them, shame on us, shame on the world as a whole. That should be, in the olden days, it was. In the olden days, providing that exceptional experience, being different, and catering to your customers' needs was the way business was done. And it wasn't until mass merchandising and big conglomerations that things became more profit driven than service driven. And I think we've made a huge shift back to being a service driven society, not just in the automotive industry, but society as a whole. The question is, when it's over, how fast are a lot of dealerships going to fight to go back to the old ways? And how many of them are going to say, no, we're going to continue to offer this level of convenience to the shopper? And there's going to be a lot of both, and it's going to be real interesting to watch and see what happens. And does the consumer win? Again, the consumer's going to win.
So I'm going to wrap up what you said. The customer is in charge, and my only pushback to that is the customer is in charge but limited to what they're able to do, right? So it is kind of a cat and mouse game as a provider, even for Amazon, to try to understand. They need a feedback loop to understand what the customer does want. Even a lot of times the customer doesn't even know what they want, but they know what they don't want. So it's kind of an elusive target. But to your point is, if you focus on being consumer centric and adapt and evolve quickly, then that's going to give you that competitive advantage. You're going to fail here and there. I want to segue into the final segment here and focus on some alternative video strategies for dealers. Patrick, I'll let you lead this segment on alternative video strategies. And you even put up a good question, I think, in the panel, which was, will job descriptions and interview strategies change at dealerships? Can you elaborate on that for us?
Yeah, I think that when in 2017, when I was with the dealer group I was with, and we tried to implement these video strategies of doing video walkarounds, video introductions, things of that nature, we saw a lot of people, as we've heard throughout this conversation, that were not comfortable in front of the camera. But they would say, if you put me in front of a person, I'm totally fine. And I don't know if that's going to be able to win the day in the future. I think that dealerships are going to have to start looking at people that are tech centric. They're not waiting on the up bus to come by to get their opportunities for the day. They're going to have to find people that are willing to send videos out and put their face in front of a customer, as opposed to just sitting behind a desk and emailing customers all day.
I think it's a good point. Adam, what are your thoughts on this particular subject?
Yeah, we did video walkarounds back in 2012, 2013. And it's just something that I held my merchandising team accountable for to do. I worked at a 3-store Kia group here, and we did a lot of subprime. So our reputation, our reputation wasn't all that great because we did so much subprime. So I wanted to do the video walkarounds and point out things like on used cars. If we had a vehicle that had a ding or a scratch or whatever, we'll point it out, because I want to be transparent. Because reputation and trust, especially when it comes to a car dealer, it's 2020, and car dealers' reputation and people's, the general public's trust level in a car dealer is still not, up here. It's, bottom of the barrel. So the trust, the transparency, that's really where it's at. And going back to what Tim was saying about change, yes, this has changed society. And for a long time, and I think even till now, change is a bad word in the dealership. You look at, and not every dealership, there's a lot of really good dealers out there. And I'm sure, dealers that are listening to this video series. But, for the most part, there's a lot of, old car dogs that, hey, by God, we've done it this way for so long, and this is how I know it, and this is what we're going to do. And ooh, for years when I was in the store, oh, you can't sell cars on Facebook. Hello, yes, that's how there's so many people on Facebook. Yes, you're going to be able to sell cars on Facebook, but change. No, we can't change. We've always done it this way, so we got to do it this way. But now, like, the customer demands a higher level of service now, and whatever you need to do in order to provide that, that's what you got to do. I'll take it back to an example that I've told hundreds of times. Where I live, there's a Publix grocery store and a Kroger on the same street within a quarter mile. Basically on the same block.
You have Publix in Nashville?
Yes, sir.
I know I'm really moving to Nashville.
Come on down, man. It's a great town. But when you walk into a Publix, for whoever's working right there, greets you. And if you get within 10 feet of an employee, they ask you how you doing, if they can help you find something. Whereas if you go to, just down the street to the Kroger, you're lucky if an employee even looks at you.
Get out of my way. I'm working.
Yeah. You set your groceries down on the conveyor belt and it's like you're interrupted their day.
Oh, and at Publix, they will not let you bag. And normally they don't want you to take the card out. They want to escort you out.
They want to take it out and you can't tip. And that's just, Publix, their prices are higher, but guess where I choose to shop? Because, I feel like they actually care that I'm in there.
So that's a great point. I'm going to bring up this article here, the one, the 3 alternative video strategies, because in here, again, this was based off of your article, Tim, on what to do when car buyers aren't coming into your showroom. And your message in there was you need to make effective videos that get people the information that they need and build that trust, right? Meet them where they need. The 3 video types in here are that Herb is focused on are what to expect videos, behind the scenes videos, and how-to videos. And the reason I'm focused on those is car commercials traditionally are, hey, what's up, everybody? Come on down. We got the best prices. You can't beat us. Come on down, right? That's like your typical car commercial. I think it wasn't until Trunk Monkey. Remember Trunk Monkey? I wish I had some of those lined up. Or the Badger commercials. Do you ever see the Badger ones?
Good.
Okay. So those went viral. Those were a whole different way of entertaining people through commercial advertising. But what we don't see on TV are these types of videos. These, hey, if you come in here, here's what you can expect. Why is that limited to the web? Why are those types of videos limited to the web and not distributed on TV? Any thoughts, Tim?
Well, I think we are seeing them now. I think with the COVID-19, a lot of dealerships are putting that type of a message. Hey, we're in this together. Here's what you can expect. Here's what we're doing to keep you safe if you come visit us at the store. So I think a lot of dealerships are finally doing that. But the next question is, why aren't they taking those same videos or that same content and putting it on their website, using it in their video communications? When they're sending out a video message to someone, why don't you have right there your value proposition, hey, you can trust us, here's what we're doing, video right there beside it? There's a golden rule at the dealership. You sell the dealership first, you sell yourself second, then you sell the car, right? Every green pea from day one, the day they're hired, their first day of training, you're taught, sell the dealership, sell yourself, then sell the car. It's someone's video communications, emails or texts that they're sending out to a lead or a customer, and they're not following the same concept. It's because of emotion. It's because of trust. It's because people buy from people they trust. People buy from people they like, and we want to make sure that they like us and trust us. They know they've come to the right place first before we start trying to sell them a car. Well, if we take that same concept, and Patrick said it great earlier as well, as a salesperson, I'm great in person, man. You put somebody in front of me, and I'm great. But when I'm not right in front of somebody, I don't communicate as well. Well, isn't that what you're doing with video? So what are your other alternatives communicating with a lead? Sending an email. We've read a lot of salespeople's emails. They're not always the best. And including myself, I'm not good at writing an email. It's easy for a consumer to misinterpret something that's being said. Try to interpret mood or emotion that's not there in an email. Same with a text, same with a chat. And as a salesperson, I don't communicate well. I've said it myself as a salesperson so many times. I don't communicate well when I'm not in front of somebody. Get me in front of them, and I'm great. Well, look what we're doing. I'm in front of you. You see me. I see you. I can read your body language. I can read your emotions. You can read mine. You can tell when I'm, confident in what I'm saying, and you can tell when I'm not so fired up about what I'm trying to say to you. So as a salesperson, you should really want to embrace this video thing because it allows you to perform when you're the best, face-to-face, live in front of somebody. Now, sometimes it may be just you talking to them in a video message, but it's the same thing. It's you. They're able to see and hear and talk to you. But the live streaming, the video calling is taking off. It's skyrocketing right now. And again, as a salesperson, you should love that new technology because it allows you to answer your customers' questions, your shoppers' questions, face to face without having to just trade emails back and forth where you can't judge emotion, you can't create emotion, and you can't build that trust. You can't really sell the dealership and sell yourself with an email. So,
Tim, you have a way, and I've known Tim for 15 years, maybe, right? Yeah. And you say some really profound things. Sometimes I feel like it's subtle, right? Tim's the one that taught me in the car business that people buy out of emotion. Like you taught me that. And you still say the same thing. You got to get people emotionally excited and connected, right? And the only emotion you create through email and text are the ones you didn't intend to create. That's the first thing I thought of when you said that was how many times do you read an email or text and it creates an emotion in you or the person, and you're like, that's not what I meant. Whereas in video, and you mentioned this twice today, that live streaming, FaceTime, live interaction is a alternative approach to video. Cause I'll tell you what, hitting record like the way Patrick did, okay, on your interview, that I know that takes a few takes. You got to repeat some things. You got to go through an editing process. It is so hard to coach yourself to be yourself. Once you see that record button on, it's so difficult to be yourself. But when you're in a live environment like this, like we are now, and you're accustomed to that, a little bit of a hump to get over that. But once you get through that barrier, you can be yourself. So I think what you shared here, Tim, is that live video from a car salesman's perspective might be that differentiator that can give them that edge if they're willing to go that route.
Yeah, without a doubt. I was at the dealership. It's definitely the new thing that, if you would, that I would be really promoting. And the reality is we talk about multi-point video communication like this, like it is new, and the reality is it's not. In 1999, I was working with a company, and that's what we did. We set up multi-point video communication platforms for businesses all over the world for their employees to do exactly what we're doing right here, right now.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't use the internet to do it because there wasn't really an effective the bandwidth wouldn't allow it, and so on and so on. So we had to create our own using T1s and
Yeah. That was like video conferencing in the archaic days that was heavy lifting back then.
Yeah. Big time.
Adam, Patrick, I want to give you guys each a last word. I did want to make one comment. When you were talking about live chat, Tim, it reminded me of, we're talking about time to innovate. I just, over the past 2 months, have stripped contact forms off of my websites. I have 2 blogs and a couple websites, right? And I have stripped off the forms because most of the increase of the forms are spam and bots, right? That's the bulk of them. And I've pretty much just made sure that live chat is available. And my auto response says, if you want to call us, here's the number. So not only is the phone number not on the site, but neither is a form. And really the only way to engage is through chat. Well, 15 plus years ago, I remember, I don't even know if you were at HomeNet yet, but Reed, if you remember our developer, Reed, the red-haired curly guy, he implemented this widget on our back webs, which hosted inventory. We didn't call it live chat, but it literally it was live chat. He implemented the ability to do live chat, and you could see what URL the person was on, and you could push them a URL. You could basically open it up in their browser, which is totally commonplace right now. But let me tell you, when he showed us that, it was the creepiest thing and we were high tech, and we're all like, no way, man. People are not going to be into that. But that's changed, right? It was too early at the time in 2003. That was too early for live chat, but that you almost expect to have it today. Adam,
without a doubt.
Last word from you before we close this out, and then I'll turn to you, Patrick.
Well, I would just say, embrace change, embrace technology. I mean, everybody's got one of these in their pocket, and it's so simple. Whether it's just recording a video, or you think about FaceTiming is a verb, right? Like everybody knows what FaceTiming is, and with Facebook, as many people that are on Facebook, get on Messenger, do a video chat, like just communicate with the customer and exceed up your customer experience. It's so much easier, like you were saying. Shooting a video is so much easier than typing out a couple of paragraphs. It's so much easier to get your point across. You put a name with a face, you humanize the process, and it's really what people are expecting. So embrace change and don't hate it. It's the stuff's not going away anytime soon, and people are really liking that wow customer experience. It's coming back. So whatever it takes to give them that wow experience and to get them to tell all their friends about it, that's what it's going to take to succeed from here going forward.
And I know Chad could attest to that, because his tech is starting to really blow up right now. There's an app I found on my phone. I don't recall installing it. I think it might be related to Facebook, but it's called Clips. Is anyone familiar with Clips?
I used Clips to submit my last driving sales speaking.
It's pretty neat because it'll auto transcribe what you're saying, and you can have different styles of how it puts your captions in there. And then you can go and you can edit. And I was like, I just made one video with it the other day. I'm like, it's pretty handy. Is that a Facebook app?
No, that's an iOS app. It's only available on iOS.
Oh, that's Mac iOS. Interesting.
It's been around for a couple of years, but I'll send you the link to the YouTube video that I got that I submitted to driving sales a couple of years ago.
All right, good. Patrick, your first experience on an auto conversion webcast panel. Any final words you want to share with the audience?
Yeah, I've got a few takeaways. The first takeaway is I'm excited I get to connect with Tim and Adam, and I hope that Adam, once this gets all calmed down with the COVID, we can get together here in Nashville. And Tim, I can't wait to connect with you and hear more about your story. So thanks, Ryan, for at least getting me that far in the process.
Sure.
And then the second takeaway I've got is that it's so apparent today that no matter whether you're in auto retail, if you're a third-party vendor, or if you're in any other business, that content is really important right now, especially video content. And if you don't know what to post, you just need to talk through every moment of your transacting with customers and your day-to-day, and just find ways to humanize your business, and it's going to help your business grow.
Well, thank you, Patrick, for sharing that. I think that's good takeaways there. Well, good. So panelists, just hang tight. I mean, if you got a bump, if you're in a hurry, go ahead, but I'm going to go ahead and wind down. But thank you, Tim, Patrick, and Adam, for being here with us today.
Thank you.
It's good to meet you all. Pleasure. Thank you, Ryan.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
All right, go ahead and hit mutes and hang tight. So folks, I'm just going to wind this down. As I said, the video marketing for auto retail is one of 6 different webcast programs that we conduct here on Auto Conversion on a weekly basis. We don't do 6 every week. We do 1 a week. And so they occur every 6 weeks. If you click on this calendar link here, you'll see our online calendar of programming. You can see which one is coming up and when. And when you look in there, there's a link. And that link there will bring you to the individual sign up page for that program. Now, once you sign up, you're always registered for this program, right? So you don't have to keep registering for each individual session within the program, but each of the 6 does require its own one-time registration. And the benefit, of course, of being here is you can participate in the Q&A, you can ask questions, you can meet and interact with the other panelists, and you can be here on as a panelist as well. And the benefits of that, I'll get into it at different times. So get yourself registered. Again, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel and have notifications turned on there. Tomorrow, we got the Mobility Tech and Connectivity Show. It's every Wednesday. And we're launching season 7. I've got Jay coming on to co-host with me to kick off season 7. And then we have Suzanne Defrey from Informa Markets. We're going to be interviewing her about level 5 autonomy. And then we have a really nice mastermind panel discussion set up to build on that conversation around level 5 autonomy. So that'll be right here on our YouTube channel. And if you want to be backstage on the Zoom where you can meet our panelists and our guests for that, then register for that. It's a one-time registration to do these things. I'm Ryan Girardi. I'm going to go ahead and take us offline. Have a great rest of the week. We'll be back here, I said tomorrow, and then also next Tuesday with our used car panel next Tuesday at 3 o'clock as well. Take care, everyone. Thank you. All right, guys, I just took us offline.